Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to Code with Mike. And today we're going to do something a little bit different than what we usually do. Usually we do tutorials or we explore new things. But today I want to talk about what is the best laptop for web development in 2023. And so, spoiler alert, there's no best laptop, but I will give you my opinion and why I chose it as a developer and why I prefer it, as opposed to like, maybe a Windows laptop. So I kind of give it away. I do prefer the Mac OS platform. A few reasons why, which I'll get into. But let's start the Apple Store and let's talk about the different models that you can kind of choose from as a developer. So if you're on a budget, I know these M1 MacBook Airs right now, you can find them for like $799 and it will do everything that you want it to. Now, one thing to keep in mind with these M1 MacBook Airs is you can only have one external screen without using some sort of third-party plugin, and they only have two. I'll show you here. So, yeah, you get 8 GB with the standard setup, and I think for Mac, I think 8 GB is still okay. You start talking about Windows, which I'll talk about. If you do want a Windows, what would I get? But for Mac, you can get by with just 8 GB. But if you see here, how do I click this and I want to show you the ports on it? Apple, where's your? Let's see. So you get 30-watt USB-C power adapter, which I think is a little bit small. Interesting. It doesn't really give too much information about it. Oh, there we go. Two Thunderbolt USB 4 ports. So I mean, it is good. They are Thunderbolt and USB 4 ports. So that's a plus. I mean, the screen is going to be pretty great. So you can't really go wrong with that. The M1, plenty fast enough. So if you are on a budget and $799, if you can afford that, it is a great machine. It'll last you a long time. So, but let's talk about if you have a little bit higher of a budget, what would you get? I like the MacBook Pros. I wouldn't get this 13-inch model just because these kind of have like the touch bar and they're kind of dated. And right now you can buy the 14-inch MacBook Pro for like $200 more, like $1499. So it's definitely the way to go. Having the extra screen real estate is really going to help too. 14 versus 13 doesn't sound like much, but when you're talking about fitting, 5 more lines of code on the screen or, a little bit more of the terminal, down below, it makes it nice. So definitely recommend that. Now, configuration wise, you can, let's talk about configurations for a second. The 8-core CPU, 14-core GPU is going to be just fine. Not having issues. You don't need the M1 Max. Yeah, you just don't need it. You don't need 32 GB RAM. Now, if you can afford it, go for it. But as a developer, I work on a MacBook with 16 GB and it's just fine. So you can definitely do it. And I think Best Buy, $15.99. Also check Amazon. I think you can get for like $15.99. And I think Apple does price match if you call them, potentially. Don't quote me on it, but I believe they do have a price match. And then 512 GB SSD, that's more than enough. If you want to upgrade the SSD, that's fine. But if you're just learning web development, 512 it's fine. Even 256, with the MacBook Air, you can get away with. It's fine as well. But let's talk about Windows. If you do want to buy Windows, which I don't like for several reasons. Windows 11 is kind of, I don't know, I just not a fan of Windows 11. So the first thing I would do is I would downgrade down to Windows 10 Pro, and that's just one extra step. And but if you do want to go Windows, try to get something with a 16:10 ratio, because a lot of these laptops here are going to be 16 by 9, and it's not like this one here, Galaxy Book 2 Pro. I'm sure it's a nice machine, but the 16 by 9 aspect ratio, you're not going to fit many lines of code on your laptop, and that's not ideal for coding because obviously you want the more lines on the screen. Um, Overall, I think the Mac OS operating system is it's better to work with. I like they got things like iTerm, and you can customize this to your liking. This is kind of basic right now, but you can definitely customize as much as you want. Um, Also, it comes with like Homebrew, which I think is pretty awesome. And so if we go talk about Homebrew, it's like a package manager. Now, Windows does have something called Chocolatey, but I think overall, starting out, you're gonna have a much easier time with Mac opposed to Windows. I just think setup, reliability, plus not to mention the displays are much better in the Mac. And when you're staring at a screen for 6-8 hours, you want to have something that is not going to make your eyes hurt. So that's important. But feel free to comment below. What's your preference? And if you like Mac, why do you like Mac? And if you are on the Windows team, let me know why. And maybe I'll take a look at the features, and maybe in the future I might convert, but not likely. And another good reason to do Mac, if you want to do any kind of um, like iOS, or even something like Flutter, it's much better to have you know a native iPhone simulator. I think Windows does have something, but it's not as good as like the native. And if you want to learn just native apps, you have to code on Mac. Um, yeah, Windows just won't be an option for if you want to code this one. And that being said, I think either way, you can definitely learn, but my preference is definitely Mac. So if you like this video, please feel free to subscribe. Actually, please subscribe because that will help me reach more people in the future, and also help me come back to you with more tutorials and walkthroughs, and plan on building some really cool things on the channel. So stick around, give me a subscribe and a like, and share the video, and we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.